On today's show, I'm joined by Michael Fleenor, certified public accountant and manager at Robinson Grant & Co. here on Hilton Head Island. Michael specializes in business valuation services, tax planning, audit advisory work, all for privately held companies, nonprofit organizations, and employee benefit plans. In addition to being a CPA, he also holds the Accredited in Business Valuation credential through the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. With more than 2 decades of experience across accounting, valuation, and financial advisory services, Michael brings a thoughtful and practical perspective to helping businesses and individuals navigate important financial decisions. In this conversation, we talk about business value, long-term planning, entrepreneurship, and the role trusted advisors play in helping clients create clarity and confidence for the future. If you enjoy conversations like this, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with someone who also may find value in it. Thanks for being here, Mike. Appreciate it.
It's great to be here with you, Tom. Thank you.
So I go right into it, and I always start with the same question. What was your first job? I'd love to hear about it.
So I always like talking about my first job, my first real job, which was as a customer service representative for a large office supply company.
Okay.
But I want to back up to my childhood. I grew up on a farm in rural Southwest Virginia. So I really consider my first job to be helping out on our farm. We raised tobacco, we had animals, so we grew hay, we grew gardens.
Wow.
And I always think back on that experience now and the value of what I learned from being exposed to those things at an early age, because it taught me the value of that hard work.
Yeah.
Fast forward, it's not something that I've chosen to pursue later in life, but I don't take that knowledge for granted and the experience I had growing up on a farm. So I got to do the fun stuff, drive the tractors because I was young.
That's pretty
So fun things like that. Got out a lot of the really hard work because I was in school.
Yep.
The hot, sweaty summer work.
Yeah.
So it worked out well for me.
So you got the good stuff, but not the bad stuff.
Exactly.
That's why you have a good vision of it.
Exactly. Good memories.
Yeah.
So fast forward to my first real job, and I've always considered myself very blessed actually in my first job. So the summer before my senior year of high school, I was told I was going to get a job, which I was totally fine with because I was eager to start doing so.
Yep.
And a large office supply company had one of their main call centers in my hometown of Bristol, Virginia. And so I applied for the job, had a great interview experience with the company. And as it turns out, even better, they offered excellent training. All of their new hires had to take courses through the local community college, which I got credit for.
That's great.
On someone else's dime.
That's great.
But it was basic soft skill training, and they wanted everyone to have that base knowledge, and it was kind of a pre-hire as well. They were kind of screening people before they would hire. So successful with that, and fast forward, got the job, and I really enjoyed what I did. I started out in order entry, so at that time, it's business to business, so businesses would fax in their orders, and I would key those in. The old facsimile, the fax, yeah. And then later on, a couple years later, I got into customer service, and I really enjoyed that experience. I was on the phone. Again, it was business to business, and I was on some dedicated teams where we dealt with government contractors a lot. And so I just was exposed to a lot of interesting conversations, interesting experiences at a very young age.
Which is valuable.
Very valuable. Yeah. And I think the reason why I consider myself blessed in getting that job as my first job, and really my only first job before starting my career, was the soft skills that I learned. I continued that job throughout all 4 years of college. I went to a local liberal arts school in the same town. So I was a commuter student. So I'd leave home, go to school, go to work. I was also involved in on-campus activities, start over the next day. But on the job, I was able to learn a lot of those soft skills that have carried me through my career all these years later. You know, how to talk to people, how to handle tough situations, how to work with people.
Which is everyday business
Everyday business.
in anything you do.
Right. Very foundational, but it was an excellent experience for me.
So, and then by the way, to me, over the phone, learning those soft skills, because you can't judge by looking at them how they're reacting to what you're saying. So you really have to pay attention to
Absolutely.
how they're saying things or what they're saying to see if what you're responding to them is working.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that I always tell people that I learned is how to smile through a phone, because you can really take care of some tense situations if you're able to do that.
Yep.
And, later in life I've had to do that, but
We all do.
I learned that many years ago, and I'm thankful for that. There weren't that many difficult situations, thankfully, that I had to
Maybe
deal
because
with.
we did such a good job.
Could be. I mean, what can I say? But it was something that I learned and feel like that I got pretty good at.
Mhm. And I always believe, I have a saying, it's better to be interested than interesting. When you're on the phone, you really need to listen,
Yes.
right? And they need to know that you're listening in order to find out what the issue is. So that's a skill that you can learn forever, especially your business now. You're an accountant, right?
Right.
So,
CPA.
so in your business, you need to interact with clients all the time. So it actually
Mhm.
leads me into, so tell me how you got into being a CPA.
Yeah. So I actually attained an interest in accounting in high school. My high school offered accounting classes, and started taking accounting classes like the teacher that I had. And I like numbers. I like when things balance. So I thought this may be a good fit.
All right, there you go.
And so I developed that interest in high school. And then when I started college, I declared my major first year
Wow,
and
you knew what you wanted.
never looked back.
Wow.
So went through 4 years of college, got my degree in accounting and a couple other concentrations as well, because I kept a full schedule while I was in college, made the most of it. And when I was graduating college, I had to make an interesting choice. Do I want to pursue my career in public accounting? Because my senior year of college, I had done an internship with a local regional accounting firm, and I had a great experience doing that. But I was still working my part-time job at the office supply company too, and I loved the office supplies. I loved the whole thing about that job. But when I was graduating college, I had an opportunity to grow within that office supply company and move up. And I was actually in line to get a supervisor position.
Okay.
So I had to make a choice. Do I want to go that route, or do I want to pursue what I went to school really for, which was accounting, and pursue a career in public
First
accounting?
life choice right there.
First
There's
life
gonna be
choice.
there's
Big
a few
choice.
of them as they go through, but that was one of your first.
And it was a little bit of a struggle because I liked the place I was at, the people I worked with. They were really good to me, and I gave it my all there. But then I had also had the experience in the public accounting firm, great mentors there, and was really eager to get started. So I chose that, and 20 plus years later, here we are. I have been in public accounting ever since. So I did choose that path, and got a lot of good experience early on in public accounting.
Mhm.
Public accounting is an interesting field that I don't think a lot of people fully understand.
I agree with
A lot of people think that accountants are true number crunchers and sit there in their cubicle or their office and just crunch numbers all day long. I knew early on that that's not really why I like the profession. I like the profession more because of the people aspect,
the relationship.
the relationship.
100%.
So I did a little bit of everything because again we were a small regional firm, so I was exposed to tax. I was also exposed to accounting and audit.
So you got a broad-based experience.
Got a very broad-based experience and a lot of good hands-on training and good one-on-one attention with the partners at the firm and others who had more senior experience.
That's very helpful.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I was able to kind of figure out which part of the job or parts that I enjoyed the most and just kind of start to build on those. And it takes a while, like anything else. And I didn't push it. I wanted to be exposed to as much as I could because I knew at some point I would need to niche into
Yeah. You got to
something,
pick something at some point.
pick something and find I really wanted to
Another
do it.
decision, life decision.
Life decision, right. Wanted to do something that I enjoy doing, that I would enjoy going to work to do.
Yeah.
And so as time went on, I realized that what I really enjoyed was that people relationship aspect. I liked working with clients, in front of clients. I was told that I was good at it, had a knack for it.
Working through some problems and
Exactly. Yeah. And it's always a diverse blend of every day is different in public accounting.
you're dealing with personalities.
You're dealing with personalities as well. So it's not just about the numbers. And, it's like many other professions, a lot of it is sales, really.
Yeah, first.
And
You're selling yourself.
correct. You're selling
In
a
life,
service.
you're selling yourself, right? Just are you the person
Right.
that I want to use?
Correct.
And that means you have to let them know that you are. Sorry, go on.
And you find that connection
Yes.
with the person, and that connection is really what can drive that business relationship.
I agree.
Mhm.
So you had mentioned mentors. Right?
Yes.
Have you had mentors? And can you just explain maybe in life or in business? Because I never did.
Yeah.
I have in life, but not in
Mhm.
business, which I wish I would have,
Yeah.
because I would have probably made some less mistakes as
Mhm.
going through. Now you learn from them, but I would love to have had a mentor. So have you had mentors?
So I've had a lot of mentors, I would say. Now, in the sense that you may be referring to, have I been handheld by one or two individuals my entire career? The answer would be no. And the reason for that is because for a couple decades, being with the same firm, which continued to grow over time, I did have a good relationship with a lot of the partners in the firm and a lot of my other colleagues who had experience and helped guide me along the way. And what I learned is that it's important to listen to those folks and not necessarily to follow exactly step by step what they do, but to simply listen, observe, and make it your own, whatever that means.
That's exactly why I have this podcast. Because
That's
other than me, I learn so much from other people. I think I mentioned earlier, it's better in my philosophy, it's better to be interested than interesting.
Right.
And I learn so much, and then I can take what would work for me and then vary it to my style.
Absolutely.
And I would probably say that's the biggest thing that I've done and that I'll continue to do, and I try and get my kids to remember.
Right.
So you're a leader in your firm, right? So what type of skills and qualities do you think a leader needs in your business?
Yeah. Well, I think that in public accounting, which is probably not different than most other industries, as a leader, it's important to surround yourself with people who are smart and perhaps smarter than
Yeah.
oneself.
Yeah.
So I have learned that lesson,
great.
and currently in with my firm here, I am surrounded by people who have a lot of experience, and I'm also surrounded by staff who don't have as much experience. They're just getting started in the profession or still very young in the profession. And so I've learned that it's important from my own experience to be very supportive and cognizant of what their needs are.
Yep.
And their needs are all going to be different from one individual to another. Everybody doesn't have that training in soft skills when they're in high school or even in
Which they
college,
should.
which helps.
I would love for my kids work at an ice cream shop and
Yeah.
or they did. My
Mhm.
younger one does, my older one's in college, but they learn those soft skills.
Yeah,
It's helping them now.
absolutely. And when they appreciate that at that age or they understand it, that's going to even take it further.
Right.
So a lot of it, what I found is just helping young people just out of college, for example, with basic soft skills because they've not had that training yet. And as a leader, it's important to understand that and give them that attention that they need. And I found that one way to do that is to let them observe, let them sit in on meetings or listen in on conversations with clients so that they can soak in that knowledge or that skill to be able to help train them.
Yep.
And then do whatever it takes to give them an opportunity to do that over time. And then certainly listening to those around you is important. Like we talked about with mentors, it's important to listen to um, what the needs of your staff are, for example, when they speak, because they have to know that they're being heard. And then they have to see action taken if action needs to be taken,
Yep.
or at least that a decision's made that that's a good idea
Yeah.
or a bad idea.
Yeah. And if it's a bad idea, why?
Why? And
People are open to that.
how do we expand on that to make it a better idea
Yep.
and to help the firm to grow or whatever the current need is?
Yep. So would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I am an introverted extrovert.
That's,
Introverted extrovert.
by the way, that's exactly what I say. Did you hear me say that?
No, I haven't.
That's good.
But I've always said that I'm an introverted extrovert. And I have an accounting joke about that too.
Okay.
How do you know the difference between an introverted and an extroverted accountant?
How?
Is he looking at his own shoes or your shoes?
Interesting.
Always likes that
Speaking
little
of socks,
circus there.
shoes and yes, by the way, I love your money socks.
Yes.
I'm in wealth management, so I noticed that.
Defining well,
Good job.
right?
I like that, which we'll get into.
Yeah. So I consider myself that because I am a people person. And as I said, I enjoy my profession because of that people aspect. I like working directly with clients. I like making new relationships, getting out in the community, and I like doing community activities as well. And just being a social person, to me, meeting new people is what drives me. I love learning about people's backgrounds and how they got started and what they do now and the sorts of things we're
Yeah.
talking about now.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I remember that when I first met you, you asked me a lot of questions, which I liked because
Yeah.
most people don't do that.
It's usually a one-sided conversation these
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
days.
yeah. It's amazing. I've had conversations with people where they've spoken 85% of the time and I spoke 15%, and they said, "Oh, that was a great conversation."
Yeah.
And to me, that's a success
Right.
because people want to talk, and then
Yeah.
eventually they'll ask you questions. But it was interesting because you asked me a lot of questions in the beginning. Which,
Okay.
but it's funny you said introverted extrovert because that's who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer to be at home, but I like to be out. And I did see you at the hairspray. You went to the hairspray.
I
play.
did. Wasn't that great? I
you-
didn't know you were there.
Yeah, because you were at a distance and I was walking out with my wife.
Oh my, you probably saw me dancing there at the end.
A little bit. We'll
Okay.
talk about that here.
Okay. That was a great show.
Yeah, they did a good
I
job.
love the art center.
Yep. So business wise, right? Your business, how do you think it's changed over the last, 15, 20 years? Because I think it's changed a lot, right?
Wow. Public accounting industry has really changed a lot, not just in terms of technology, but in terms of how we use our human resources, people, our staff.
Yeah.
And that's becoming much more of a thing with AI. And as we're trying to figure out how to properly integrate that into our industry, because it's happening.
Oh, it's happened.
And the technology is evolving and our clients' needs are evolving. Now it's not just about compliance, which most people would consider tax preparation to be a compliance. You check the box, did it another year, I'm good. It's more client accounting services, which is everything from bookkeeping to business valuations to general consulting on how to help their business grow. Clients now have so many more needs than they did just 15 years ago. And it's crazy to think about how fast that's changed. And you think, well, it's accounting, it's the backbone of a business, but we're looking at it differently now than we did back then.
Oh, 100%. I mean, in our business has evolved too. What we say is that for someone as their wealth is increased, complexity increases.
Right.
And you can't be going to all these different places, do it. You need to have somewhere central for certain things to be able to handle.
Right.
So in every business, it's gotten more complex, but when you're dealing with numbers and finance, it's definitely, I agree with that.
It has. And, also we just came off of a busy season. Most people would say a tax season. What we're finding with those is they're getting more and more compact, meaning folks are getting their forms later for whatever reason, and our season gets more and more crunched there at the end. In particular, going into an April 15th deadline, or let alone the March 15th deadline, to try to get all the volume of work done. So just trying to manage that is a challenge for public accounting firms these days.
It's hard to hire people too, right? In public accounting these days.
It's very difficult. A lot of folks in school who are studying accounting don't even fully understand, I think, like we talked about earlier, that accounting is more than just number crunching. Our industry needs people that can do all kinds of things, whether it's crunching the numbers, certainly need those, whether it's the people relationships, the human resources side of things, the client relationships, marketing, being out there selling the product. We need those people.
Because you need clients.
Absolutely.
So this is a podcast about wealth, right?
Right.
So I always end it off with, what would you say your definition of wealth was when you first started working to now? Has it changed? Is it the same? Expand on that a little bit.
I love that question because being a CPA, I've seen what wealth is. And by that, I mean financial wealth,
Yep.
but I've seen it at a deeper level too. And that includes the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, the good for financial wealth, you can afford great houses on the beach. You can afford nice vacations, fun cars to drive, enjoy all the wonderful restaurants that we
nice.
have here in the Low Country. We have all that. And you can enjoy that with a lot of financial wealth or even moderate financial
Sure.
wealth for that matter. But I've also seen, unfortunately, the downside of wealth, which is the problems that it can cause among human relationships. Family members, for example, when someone passes, there's money involved.
Hell yeah.
They fight over it, and
People come out of the woodwork.
they come out of the woodwork, and it literally can end a relationship. And to me, that's very sad, and I've seen that. So, starting in my career, like most people, that's probably what the definition of wealth was. But if I had to define wealth now beyond the financial wealth, first of all, I would consider having a good knowledge as being part of one's wealth.
Okay.
Taking that information that you've learned from your mentors and retaining the most important ones that can help you in your career, your personal life. That's an important part of being a wealthy person
Definitely.
in life is knowledge. Second would be health.
Yep.
As we get older, it's more and more important to take care of our health.
I agree.
And so we want to be healthy so we can be wealthy and enjoy that wealth that we've accumulated and live longer. Right. And then I think the last one that I would mention, and for me, the most important, because I'm a man of faith, is spiritual wealth.
Okay.
I like the scripture in Matthew in the Bible that talks about storing not treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven.
Okay.
I always think of that scripture, and I love that because to me, the financial side of wealth is important. The people side of wealth is important, having good social relationships, but it doesn't end down here. For me, there's a eternal amount of wealth up there that I hope to be able to witness someday.
I like it. It's a full, well-rounded idea of wealth.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Maybe we'll see each other at the meeting tonight.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Tony. Thank you.